Hey, this is Rocket Brain Surgeon. Today we're looking at the T69. We're following Garbad around, and the map is Westfield. The T69 is a Tier 8 U.S. medium tank, characterized by a very compact frame, solid gun depression, and an autoloader. The autoloader is fantastic, holding 4 shots with 240 damage apiece. You can throw down 1,000 damage in 6 seconds from the time you start firing. Now on Westfield, in the spot where he is, I like going in this location. However, it has a problem, whereas if a scout YOLOs like that AMX-12T just did, he lights you up for all of the people across the valley, and you're kind of a sitting duck. However, there are a couple Tier 6 tanks across the valley. They are bouncing shots off of the front of the T69. It just shows how good the angles can be, even if the armor isn't particularly thick. Not only does the hull have a nice shape to it, the turret is very small and rounded as well, offering decent protection when hull down. Now when you see him shoot a couple of shots in succession here, you're going to notice that the accuracy on the gun is not very good. The strength of the US autoloader line is its very solid intra-clip reload time. Between shots within the clip, they are 2 seconds apart, which means you can chuck down 1,000 damage in 6 seconds. That's a great strength. However, it also means that your reticle aim is not finished by the time your next shot is going to reload. So if you just spam shots as fast as you can, the first shot will be relatively accurate, and then shots 2, 3, 4 are just going to go all over the place. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who don't like premium ammo spam, but the T69 is one of the tanks that just has to spam a lot of heat. Because of that low penetration on the base round, it's 170, and because of the poor accuracy, you need those shots to penetrate, and they're not going to hit the enemy tank where you aimed them. It's just not going to happen. So with 170 base penetration, if you unloaded into a tank, you're probably going to get 1 out of 4 to penetrate, because some are going to go into the turret, some are going to go into the upper front plate, and there's going to be at least one that doesn't even hit the tank. That's guaranteed with the accuracy that this thing has. 1 out of 4 shots are just not going to hit the enemy, if not 2 out of 4 shots. Another reason for carrying a lot of premium ammo is that the tank isn't particularly fast. It has solid low torque mobility, but the tank as a whole is not going to be doing a ton of flanking because it just has very low straight line speed. And this means a lot more face-to-face engagements, which means you're facing the front tough armor of tanks, and it's just better to be able to do what Garbad did right there and auto-aim on the enemy and just gun him down at close range. The camouflage on the T69 is acceptable. It's not great, but it's not the worst either. The place where Garbad is a spot on Westfield I like to go, but not a lot of people do, and the reason why is because it's very tricky. You need a lot of situational awareness. There are a lot of tanks that can pop up in all directions and shoot you from halfway across the map from every angle, and you kind of have to be mentally aware of where the enemy is and where you're likely to get shot from. Artillery is likely to shoot you as well if you stray too far from a building, as seen right there. But the upside is really good, and the T69 has the ability to take advantage of the upside. So you can play vision games with all of the foliage, you can play peekaboo games with the buildings for hard cover. You're able to go from flank to support and surround the enemy, and you can get a lot of angles on the enemy just by moving a couple meters north or south. So we're approaching an endgame situation, and an endgame in an autoloader is very favorable because you can come across half-dead tanks and just cycle them out while eating only 1 shot. The T69 in particular is very good at that because it can throw down 1,000 damage in 6 seconds once it starts firing. Half-dead enemies might not even get a single shot off before they realize what's going on. During this firing sequence, you can see Garbad struggle with the accuracy of the gun. Before the T32 was tracked, he just fired off every shot in quick succession. Once the T32 became tracked and its position would be more or less static, he let the gun aim in a little bit to make sure that last shot hit. So his teammates in the north dropped like a prom dress, and while the endgame is favorable to autoloaders, it's somewhat difficult when you don't have any shells in the clip. So he makes just a quick decision to say, okay, need to get out of here into somewhere where I can get hard cover, be relatively artillery safe, and be within firing lines of teammates. So he drops into the valley, and he's going back to the backside of this hill where he can be artillery safe, and there's a lot of nooks and crannies and places to use that gun depression. Moreover, he needs somewhere to hide while he's reloading. One of his platoon mates says that there's a full HP T32, and so while, yeah, you can take a big chunk out of the T32 in one clip, you can't cycle him out, and so you're going to sit there for 27 seconds while the T32 is just pummeling you uncontested. Hard cover is very useful in that instance. If you look at the ammo count, you're going to notice that there are some difficulties when you split up ammo types. Sometimes you're not going to be able to load a full clip of ammo, so if he lets all these 4 shots go with the T32, he's only going to have 2 shots of heat left. Since the T69 throws shells so quickly, it's not uncommon to run low on ammo. As you can see, there are only 3 shells of heat left, which means you would have to go through the full reload time just to load a partial clip. Now, Garbad is in a difficult spot. He was in kind of a weird area, and he needs that hard cover. The T-32 was showing up unexpectedly in the valley, so he goes behind the bridge. He's going to wait a little bit to reload and then pop back out and try and cycle out the T-32. And it's here where the game decides that he just needs to die. First he gets tracked, and then at point blank range the game decides he can't penetrate a weak spot. GG. Garbad wrote a full write-up on the T69, links in the comments. Hope you enjoyed. Happy hunting.